Hey everyone, welcome to another of Adam's Reviews, and of course I am Adam, if you haven't figured that out, and this is my review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the PiSector Home Security Alarm System. This is the brains of the unit right here. It comes with two of these guys here. These are the motion detectors. They're the mounting brackets that the back of the motion sensor hooks up to. Comes with a couple of wall anchors. And comes with a mounting bracket for the back of the alarm. Comes with telephone cord because you can wire this up to your landline if you want to have it dial your cell phone or have it dial an emergency number. I believe this is the panic button, so you probably want to have this by your nightstand or whatever. The cover's protected so that way you don't accidentally trigger the alarm or turn it on or turn it off, but this is how you can remotely disarm and arm your system. The glass breakage sensors, and these are the typical magnetic switches that you have. One of the things that I am really very happy with regard to this system is that every single piece on this, with the exception of the siren, is wireless. When you get them, there's a little bit of prep work that you want to go ahead and do before you start trying to mount everything up. First thing is that these things all should have these little tabs that are sticking out of the back that you can see that are just bent up. That's protecting the battery. So, you know, when you get these, they're not live. You actually have to take this and pull it out like that, and it just come with double-sided tape, so that way you can go ahead and just use double-sided tape. This is, you don't have an option on this one to screw it in place, so your only option is double-sided tape. So just, you know, come on, you guys probably know how to do this, right? I mean, it's double-sided tape. You just peel off the backing on one side, stick it on there, the back of the magnet and the back of the actual switch itself, and there you go. Because I'm going to go ahead and step through my installation, and maybe that'll help you guys out when you're trying to install it on your end, right? And let's get started. Okay, so I've chosen the location for the alarm brain, and it's going to go like right where our landline telephone used to go. Right about here will be just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and speed things up a little bit because the actual installation takes a fairly long while to go ahead and drill all this stuff out, and Amazon only allows me to have a 10-minute review, so I have to kind of speed things up. So I was just marking the holes and then drilling them out and adding the screws that the actual back plate mounts to, and throwing in a drywall anchor where necessary, and leveling it out, and then putting the actual brain up. Love working blind like this because you can't see anything back there. There we go. And that guy is mounted. And you can see, like, there's just not a lot of play with that wire because they only give you like 3 feet of wire. All right, and so here I am marking the holes for the siren. I'm just putting it up at the very top of the ceiling there, and then going ahead and drilling out the holes for the drywall anchors, and then screwing in the siren to the drywall anchors. And you can see that one of our cats is helping me out. Okay, so I picked out this spot where I'm going to go ahead and mount this thing. One of the things that you want to make sure is for the front door, according to the instructions, is that you want to use the one that's marked Zone 8 on the door. I don't know what the significance of that is. I'm assuming that the front door is something special. So they say use Zone 8, and this one right here, you can see the zones are marked on the front. Well, maybe you can't because I'm way down here. But Zone 8, trust me, there's a label on here that says Zone 8 right on it. The way that I'm going to go ahead and mount this is that I'm going to mount it instead of vertical like this, where it kind of like the antenna is making me having to mount it a little bit lower than I wanted to. I'm going to mount it horizontally and then have the actual magnet sitting right here. And one of the most important things that you're going to do whenever you use double-sided tape is use some rubbing alcohol and just clean up that area really good. And then you can go ahead and stick the items to whatever surface that you want to stick it to, and it should adhere very well. And when this opens, there we go, you see that red light light up. That means that would have triggered the alarm. Okay, so I've chosen the location for the motion sensor. I'm going to go ahead and put it up in this corner right here. One thing that you want to be aware of is that there is an antenna on these because everything is wireless. So because of that antenna, you can't like put it up too far to the ceiling, otherwise you're going to wind up collapsing your antenna down and shortening the range and probably the effectiveness of the sensor. So make sure that you accommodate for that. And the process for mounting this is much the same as the other pieces that we put up so far. You want to go ahead and get the bracket installed. I used a hook to
as a center punch to punch a little hole in the wall, and then I use the drill to go ahead and drill out the holes, and then tap in the drywall anchors, and then put the bracket up and screw those in. And that is really essentially all that needed to be done. It's just 2 screws, screws the bracket into place, and then you snap it in. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and mount the glass break sensor, and I'm just going to mount that on the wall right here. It doesn't really have to go in any place special, as long as it's kind of like in the center of whatever room that you're going to be mounting it in. So that way, if there's windows that are on that side and windows over here, like in my house, the sensor will be right in the middle, so that way it can catch any of the glass that could potentially be broken. I'm going to speed things up again. So what I've done is just pulled off the back, so that way it exposes the mounting holes that are inside the actual sensor itself. Drill out the holes that I need to after marking where they're supposed to go, and then screw the sensor in place using the screws that they provide. Don't try and use your own screws, because you might end up having the screws that are too big and mess things up.
Okay, so I have everything installed. I installed all of the sensors. Everything that comes with the actual base unit was pre-programmed. So the only thing that I had to program in there was those glass breakage sensors. One of the things I probably would have done in hindsight, now that I'm a little bit more familiar with the system, I probably would not have bought just this particular entry-level system. I probably would have spent the extra $40 and gotten the next step up. The next step up comes with an actual LCD screen instead of just the 2-digit LED system that this one has. One of the things that I would highly recommend that you do when you get this system is to turn off the siren beeping. I have no idea why they didn't just do this as the default, but the default is that whenever you're arming or disarming the system, it'll actually route that through to the siren. So the siren gets triggered every time that you arm and disarm the system. I got to tell you, it's very loud. So whenever you're doing that, it's going to like scare your cats or your dogs or whatever it is that you have in the house. If you have somebody who's sleeping, trying to take a nap or whatever, and you're arming and disarming, it's going to wake them up. It's just insanely loud, and it's incredibly silly that they left that in by default. So there's 2 different modes that this thing will operate in. There's home mode, and then there's out. It's called out mode. I would call it, away from home, whatever. When it's in home mode, none of the infrared sensors will be triggered. So you can walk around your house and you don't have to worry about your alarm going off. However, if you trigger one of the magnetic sensors, the alarm will go off. And then the second mode is the arm mode, where everything is armed. You got all the motion sensors are armed, and everything else that would be armed for the home mode. One of the things that I did have to do additional in order to get some of the magnetic gap sensors installed on one of the windows is I had to create a little bit of a little shim. And what I did was I just took a piece of wood stock and cut it to the width and length of the sensor itself, and then screwed some screws through that, and then screwed that up into the casing. Bear in mind that not every installation is going to go by the book. You're going to have to rig things here and there to try and make it to work properly. All in all, it was really straightforward. That was the only window that I had to do where I had to actually shim it a little bit to make it work. Everything else, I was able to just use the double-sided tape, stick things where they needed to go, good to go. Very straightforward, very easy. The product is cheap, $100. You get a ton of triggers. Everything is wireless, so you don't have to worry about running wires all through your attic and through walls. And oh man, if that was the way that things were still done, I would not even bother with an alarm like this. I have no problems giving this a really good review based on what this base model is. But for me personally, I think I would have upgraded. I probably should have bought the step up from this model. This one's a little bit too lean for me. Hopefully you guys got some good info out of it. You saw how to install it. I was kind of giving some decent feedback on what I thought of the product. I think it works just great. I had it running all day yesterday. Wasn't any false alarms or anything crazy like that. The only thing that I would ding it on is the fact that it doesn't come right from the factory with the arm disarm tone disabled for the siren. I don't know why they have that, but that'll be it for me. And thanks a lot for watching my review, and I will see you next time on Adam's Reviews. Hey everyone, welcome to another of Adam's Reviews, and of course I am Adam, if you haven't figured that out, and this is my review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the PiSector Home Security Alarm System. This is the brains of the unit right here. It comes with two of these guys here. These are the motion detectors. They're the mounting brackets that the back of the motion sensor hooks up to. Comes with a couple of wall anchors. And comes with a mounting bracket for the back of the alarm. Comes with telephone cord because you can wire this up to your landline if you want to have it dial your cell phone or have it dial an emergency number. I believe this is the panic button, so you probably want to have this by your nightstand or whatever. The cover's protected so that way you don't accidentally trigger the alarm or turn it on or turn it off, but this is how you can remotely disarm and arm your system. The glass breakage sensors, and these are